We're back online. We're live from Wilkie Ferguson Jr. United States Courthouse, 400 North Miami Avenue, Miami, Florida, 33128. We have another of the victims of the family courts, DCF. Could you tell us your name and about your case, please?
Good afternoon. My name is Dave Rudra, and if my children are happy to be watching, first of all, I want you to know that I do love you, and I haven't stopped. It's been over 7 years right now, and I told you when this began that you'll be in my heart, and then I'm going to come and get you, and I'm not going to stop until I get you. What I do want everybody to know is that this is not what people think. This is what you call a stealth, socially engineered, corrupt practice. It's racketeering by using the resources of elderly and children. And unfortunately, Scott Bernstein was offered a deal in which my life insurance was to pay for him to run a fraud court, in which he was also conflict of interest and running a criminal case, which he did not let me know about, and signed false orders and arrests and investigations that he ran through the DCF, while he was also hearing the false allegations that were filed in the domestic violence case, which I had no idea about. And all of these took you guys away from me legally, and I had no idea, children, but now I do. And basically it's the way that they can keep people with deep pockets in the court systems, playing you between attorneys and extortion, and until they run you bankrupt, or they can find a way to discredit you, which you know that they've been trying to do, or you end up giving up and committing suicide. And that's what the contract that Ramesh Nyberg, Miami detective, homicide, Ramesh detective, was paid in the contracted murder for hire agreement, that in 90 days that Dave Rudra should die, be incarcerated, mentally institutionalized, or bankrupt and forced out of town. And that was over 7 years ago.
Dave, these are very serious allegations.
Correct.
I understand that you have a federal lawsuit that you are filing, or that you have filed.
I have not filed a federal lawsuit because I'm still doing research. What happened in the situation is because most of the people that are involved in this are attorneys, lawyers, and judges. This is their legal environment that we are now up against, and therefore you're not getting any legal representation. So we're having to do this pro se. So yes, my racketeering RICO lawsuit against the judge and Mayor Carlos Jimenez obviously is the architect, one of them, and one of the senators, and the Health Choice Network is all behind this, financing this. But yes, that is in the process. I really don't want to discuss that at this time.
Okay.
But
could you tell us? I understand that you are an ex-Marine, right? You're a vet. You're a Navy. You served in the Navy for how many years?
I was in 1981 through 85. It was in the USS Saratoga, and I had a classified clearance, and I know the technologies that they're using on the internet that the public is not aware of, as they monitor you illegally and bypassing warrants. So
right, and I agree with you that this is a form of racketeering. Basically, they are separating children from parents, from fit parents, without due process of law, and basically for money. And this happened to you. This happened to me. This happened. You see here, many of the people that you see here have been affected by this, and many more that are coming.
Okay. I want to make something very obvious here. If you notice, people that are out here have businesses, have money, deep pockets. I had a multi-million-dollar business, over 1,500 employees. What you don't see here are people that cannot afford a divorce, that works at McDonald's or labor jobs that you have to really struggle because they cannot afford a multi-million-dollar lawsuit, divorce. They just want to get a $200 divorce and get out. So the victims are not them. It's the people that provide jobs in the community that they attack. Why? Because if they keep your children as a hostage in ransom, they know that they are going to get a war. And with a war, they make money. And the arena is the family courthouse in Scott Judge Bernstein's family courtroom 28.
I can tell you that unfortunately I had the displeasure of having the same judge, and he's unfortunately the head of the family court, and I believe he should step down after this. All this corruption that's taking place, Judge Scott Bernstein should step down from family courts. He should not be involved with families at all.
The problem is, Mario, that these people have ego, and ego is what they will not, first of all, they don't take ownership, and if they do take ownership, they're not going to admit it, and therefore they're not going to step down because that's a form of admission. Instead, what do? Over there, they've made a multi-billion-dollar new courthouse, and they're calling it the Children's Courthouse. And guess who's going to pay for that now? The future children in Miami-Dade County have to be in court enough to pay for all the salaries, the lawyers and the judges.
That's right. And you know what's really sad is that not too long ago, in 2014, Miami Herald did they did an investigation of DCF and the children dying under DCF care, and about two children die every week under the care of DCF. According to the Miami Herald, they stopped. They were probably censored, and they have not continued to report this death. These are children dying under the care of DCF. Unfortunately, I was involved in with one of the investigators in the case of one of the victims. Her name is Nubia Barahona. And the same investigator that really messed up in the Nubia Barahona case was also involved in my case. And she was also involved in your case, and she has been involved in several other cases.
Vanessa Archer is who you're referring to, I'm sure, and from my experience and what I've heard around in the community is she's just a rubber stamp. She basically, the family courts are converted criminal attorneys and judges that now, with the absence of the drug cartels coming through Miami, they have turned to children and families to supplement their income. That's the economics. That's because the county has no long-term plan.
I can tell you that it, to me, is really unbelievable, unconscionable that we're gonna have supposed psychologists like Archer who were basically based on the report from DCF and an independent report. She was basically one of the main persons responsible for the death of Nubia Barahona and the torture of the three siblings. And her incompetence basically is what caused a lot of this, and she has continued to do this over and over and over, and no one, even though we have spoken about the destruction that she's causing, no one has done anything. But this is going to stop. And we're uniting.
I can elaborate a little bit, Mario,
yes,
on Archer, because basically she and Mary Raymond, Esquire, their guardian ad litem tag team that work for Scott Bernstein. Okay, now he basically is the violating his administrative authority in the courts and ordering this scenario for his legal firms that keep him up there so that they can spread the money when it comes to divorces and child custody. So in the situation of my case, I never even went to see Dr. Vanessa Archer, yet she rendered an opinion to remove my kids away from me, and there is no medical consent or release. She never saw me, and yet she's on the Guardian interim report.
Wow.
Describing about being an unfit father in allegations that never was investigated.
I completely believe you 100%. I'm going to tell you that in my case, it is her opinion, I'm too religious to be with my children. And for 4 years, to July 20th, actually 4 years exactly, that I have not been able to see my children freely just based on her bigotry against religion. And she's a bigot, just like Judge Bernstein is as well. He's definitely a bigot against Christianity and against all religions, basically. And we got to stop that.
Well, I mean, I understand how you feel. It's very emotional. I want to refrain from saying bigot, but I do want to put the bigger thing, and that is ignorance. Basically, when you're ignorant, you know very little. And you know very little about family. Like, for instance, Scott Bernstein, he's a criminal lawyer. He has no competency in being a family judge. He does not have children. He cannot have children. He will never have children.
Why?
I believe he's married to a TV judge, Judge Young. That's his wife or husband.
What?
And between the both of them, it's basically an outcome has already been established, and the courts are used to dramatize an outcome.
So we have a judge, the head of the family courts, that cannot have children, ever have children, and that doesn't understand basically parents. He's the head of all of this.
He is
no wonder.
Judge.
No wonder we are we have this disaster that's going on in our courts today.
It shows an absence of leadership. Okay, leadership is the key. If you do not have competency in your leadership and you're going the wrong way, then everybody underneath you is going to be going in the same direction, and that's where it starts. It starts on the top with Scott Bernstein, family court, and he trickled into DCF, into other areas where his arm has influence on judicial influence, where he is taking advantage of his administrative authority and hiding behind judicial immunity. There's a difference between the administrative duty that he has, authority that he has, and the judicial immunity. He can always say that was his opinion. However, he is knowingly violating his administrative obligations to do things by the law.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dave. I really appreciate your testimony, and we're going to continue live here from Wilkie Ferguson Jr., United States Courthouse, 400 North Miami Avenue, Miami, Florida, 33128. Please come join us. We need you here. We need your voice. We need you to unite with us, with our families, with our children, and demand our children and our parents back. Thank you.